Hello there. Today I'm going to show you how to join and view a webinar hosted by Zoom. Now, you've probably received an email that looks a little bit like this one. It says, "Hi there, you're invited to a Zoom webinar taking place at this date and this time. Topic, exciting webinar." Obviously, the topic will be different with yours, so all the date and time. You'll have probably received an invite or some kind, or you may have seen it on a website or some other email that's been forwarded to you. The important thing, this part here. So what we're going to do in a moment is click on this link to join the webinar. That's simple as. However, just while I'm here, I'll show you the other options. If you're not on a computer, you don't have anything available at the time, and you're reading an email off your phone, and you're not able to get to the conference for some reason, you can actually dial in using one of these phone numbers here. So you simply dial the phone number, the Zoom conferencing service will answer, and you type in the webinar ID number that you've been invited to. The ID number will change depending on which webinar you've been invited to. Now, if you do dial in by telephone, you'll only be able to hear the webinar. You won't be able to see what's on the screen. But if you're without a PC, that's sometimes the only way. However, the purposes of today, we're going to click on this link here. So here we go. Click on the link. Now, if you haven't used Zoom before, it'll want you to download the Zoom software. That's perfectly normal. Here it comes. There it is, happening in the bottom corner of the screen. This will take a different amount of time depending on what your internet connection's like. You may see pop-ups of other kinds saying, "Are you sure?" That's okay. I'll just press it now. Your meeting will begin soon. So what it's doing is it's downloading the Zoom meeting software at this moment. This is what lets me connect and watch what someone's presenting. 30%, 50%. This will depend on the speed of your internet connection. Mine's apparently not so great. I'm at home. There you go. Right. So once that's done, it'll then ask you who you are. So I'll email. Now, there we are. I've put in my email address. Put in an email address. Oh, spelled that wrong. Test email, and I put in my name. Remember my name for future meetings? Yes. So once you put in your contact information there, sometimes additional questions will come up, sometimes just the basics. So I'll press join. Right, here we go. Let me close this. Please wait, the webinar will begin soon. So it's scheduled to start at 1:30, and it happens to be 1:51 now. That's okay. The speaker, the presenter, has not yet arrived. While you're waiting, sometimes there may be questions that have been posed that you could answer, which sometimes presenters like to do that, so they can have a bit of interaction with who they're presenting to. Test my speaker. You can press that to get your audio settings correct. So there's your microphone and your speaker settings. That's probably a good opportunity if you're testing your speaker. I'll go back into that again actually. So if you press test speaker, it'll actually play a sound. And if you can hear it, you're all good. You'll be able to hear the presenter and what they're saying. Some people with multiple sound cards, they can choose it from the list. But the objective is to press that button and be able to hear things at a good volume. Again, you should be able to hear a sound. So if all is working, you just need to wait for the webinar to begin. Now, what I'm going to do is on my other machine here, I'm just going to start the webinar. So I pressed it on my other machine, saying broadcast, start the webinar now. So it may take a moment or two. There you go, connecting. So as we can see, the presenter here has lined up a terribly exciting presentation about a cup of coffee. And it says exciting webinar demonstration. So while you're in it, the presenter, you'll be able to see if they're moving their mouse around. You'll be able to see what they're doing. You'll be able to hear what they're saying. There are limited functions available for you as a viewer. In this instance, the chat function's been switched on. The raise hand function has been switched on and the Q&A function has been switched on. That's down to what the presenter has allowed you to do. Q&A, if you click on that, you can say, feel free to ask the host and panelists questions. So type your question here. How are you? Send. Now, the presenter can choose to address your questions at any time they wish. They may not wish to. They may not even have that function switched on. That's depending on them and the sort of presentation you're attending. If while you're in the presentation you're having trouble hearing, bear with it. It may be the presenter having trouble with their microphone. That's not uncommon. However, if you are having trouble hearing, there is an audio settings button in the bottom left-hand corner. It brings up the same menu you saw earlier. Finally, if you want to duck out early, no problem. Just press Leave Meeting in the bottom right-hand corner. And when you leave, that will end the presentation. So I'm just going to press, there you go. And that is how you join and view a webinar delivered by Zoom.